Alright, this is my first video of a hopefully series of videos that I might do about my game and, characters and other things, that I'm going to be working on. Now, this first video is what I call the theme of B.A.L. Yeah, sounds weird. First of all, let's start with the first thing, because I know many of you are going to ask, what the f does that mean? Well, B.A.L is B-A-L, and at least in this terminology. Whew, sorry about all this wind. Alright, so B.A.L stands for Black Angel Legion. It's a game that I'm working on. Sorry about that. Snot. Okay, so basically, the B.A.L, or Black Angel Legion, is going to be the unity of many things. The first thing I'm going to mention about the unity of is going to be religion. Because, I don't know, we should have the freedom of believing in whatever religion we want, no matter how good or bad a set number of people believe it is to be, and that is our right. So, we're going to have certain characters that are more Satanist style versus a more Christianity, baptism, Catholicism, and so on. Maybe enter some Buddhist monks in there, maybe some, I don't know, anything really. You just never know. What I want to include as many as possible, because I feel like that's very important. And when I say unity, I'm going to go over a lot of things that I'm planning to try to unify in a game, at least in hopes to. And when I say unify or, equality, I'm not just talking about, equality or unity only for things to make us look better or to get things that we want. I'm talking about both the good and the bad, because, why not? And I feel like the game subconsciously, mess up our minds. Alright, so, back to what I was talking about. I was just talking about religion, and it's not the only thing we're going to talk about, but anyways, the unity of religion. I just covered that at least to a small amount of, or at least enough to where you could hopefully understand it. Next thing I'm going to bring up, as far as my list of things to unify in a game, gender. I find more times than not, people are always pointing the finger at everyone else. Oh man, and I don't want to get a whole bunch of haters on this, but I really got to say a little bit about this. Modern feminism is, well, one of the major things that we're looking at right now. And we're not even thinking about why we're saying what we're saying, If we took a little bit of time to think about why we're whining about some of these things, you'd realize how silly it sounds. I'm sorry, but it's stupid. First of all, to understand this, we have to realize that there's a problem on both sides instead of blaming one side, acting like, that one side doesn't do something wrong versus someone does. We have to break that cycle, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I guess a lot of games kind of do sexualize a lot of characters by specifying in one gender, which, as much as I love seeing it, I feel like unless it's a succubus or like a Amazonian warrior, like an orc or something, then I guess, there are some types of characters like those that I listed where sexuality kind of does fit the character, where it's supposed to be more revealing because that's what it wears, like a Valkyrie. Valkyries are not like angels. Valkyries are meant to be more revealing, and they're more flirty. They're basically a Nordic angel that's a bit more flirty than a regular angel, so they're going to be a little bit more revealing. But when every character you do is more revealing than it should be, then I guess it just kind of takes away from the fun. I like a woman that's revealing just as much as I like a woman with her clothes on, you know what I mean? And her clothes off, it doesn't really matter. I like all types of stuff, But anyways, I'm a little off topic there. Anyways, I feel like that men and women both need to pull their head out of their ass and realize what the hell's going on, find a way to fix it, instead of crying about everything. Ugh, it's so annoying. So in this game, since games and RL do kind of merge a lot, especially more recently over the years, I'm going to work harder to bring gender at a more balance, instead of just putting one gender better than the other one, you know what I mean? If there's going to be sexuality amongst women in games, I'm going to make it more within men as well, and not to say that I don't really roll that way with men, but you never know who might be playing a game that might go, yeah, I like dudes, give me a dude that's got his pants kind of hanging down a little bit, I don't know, give a little something for everybody, I don't have to like it, but I do want to bring as much unity as possible, so that includes things you don't like. So my mind is open, and I'm bringing as much as I can to the table. We can do this. Okay. Sorry about all that. Hope nobody hates me for saying what I said. I don't mean it rudely, but sometimes you gotta be an ass about it to wake people up, and I'll be the guy that you hate, because you'll later love me when you realize that what I'm saying is in fact very much true. Again, I love everybody, but I don't like everybody's actions. Next thing is going to be sexual orientation. When I say that, I'm not referring to gender. I'm talking about lesbians, gays, bisexuals, you know, that kind of stuff. And there will be certain things that I will not be including, and it's nothing personal against anybody, okay? But when I research these things and I realize that something like pansexual is kind of the same thing as being bisexual with a little bit of extra twist to it, then, I mean, I don't really feel like there's a point of including it. I don't mean it rudely, and I'm not saying people that believe themselves to be pansexual are bad or overly good, or, you know, I just feel like it's a little confusing to everybody when they gotta figure everything out. So there's certain things I may not be including into this game, and it's not to be a dick or to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just doing the research to the best of my ability, learning as much as I can so that the game can be as unifying as possible and equal as possible. That's what I want. But, I mean, if anybody can help me more understand these things, feel free to comment. I mean, of course, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I've done a lot of research so far, and maybe I've missed a few things. I mean, you know, it's possible to lose sight of everything when you've been alone for so long and you're homeless out here. Yes, I am. Not even kidding. I work hard for what I have, and I have a dream to build a game that can unify people, and that's just what I'm going to try to do. So bear in mind when I say things that are negative or positive and are more than likely realistic, because I want to open people's eyes. I don't want people to hate me for it, but if hating me is what opens people's eyes, then by God, I will be the religious or the religious, you know, equality mean person. You know, this spits the facts that, you know, that you may or may not like. But as far as sexual orientation goes, I want to bring as many people together as possible, and I think that modern world is full of different people of different sexual orientations, so I will be doing my best to bring them in. Hopefully. Ethnic race is the next thing. Let's see here, ethnic race. Now, when I say ethnic race, I'm referring to the, you know, not technical words, but like, for instance, you know, you're black, you're white, Spanish, you're Asian, and I'm sure that probably people are going, well, that's kind of like, you know, singling, you know, people out, maybe a little bit racist, but I'm like, dude, I mean, you gotta be a little bit racist to understand race, and that's just the reality. And, I mean, I'm not saying any race is better than another, but in order to understand race, we have to be a little tiny bit racist. But there's good racism and there's bad racism. Like, jokes are not so much bad. They can be a little bit annoying to certain people, I guess. Offensive, maybe. But it's different than saying you hate a certain race, per se. You know, saying that I understand them is different from saying that I hate them, and we have the right to our own opinions, and if I lift anything out, feel free to tell me. Now, as far as ethnic race goes, I'm going to be bringing in as many different races as possible without overdoing it. So, like, you might have your Jamaicans, your Africans, you know. Since Africans are basically, I mean, basically Nigeria is in Africa, so Nigerians and Africans are kind of the same thing. So don't get too pissed at me if you don't see anything from Nigeria. Maybe I'll just include an African Nigeria, you know, race. I don't know. I mean, Indians and, you know, your Caucasians, your Italians. I don't know. I'm doing the best that I can here. And well, doing something this big alone is very, very, very stressful. But I have a dream, and my dad, before he died, told me to follow my dreams. So I will follow my dreams, even if it, I don't know, even if it takes a lot more time and stress out of my body, then, you know, I will do it one day. And I will make sure that I do it, because I made a promise to a lot of people, and I got a lot of people expecting this to happen. But yeah, as I said, ethnic race, it's going to be a bit harder for me, but I'm going to find a way to make it happen. Next is lifestyle living. Now, when I say lifestyle living, I'm talking about, you know, your gangsters, your emos, your gothics, your punks, your, I don't know, metalheads, you know, your dark alternative styles, you know, stuff like that. I'm sure that had to have made some sense to you guys. And no, I'm not including clowns as a lifestyle living. I'll tell you about it when it's time. You'll hear about it in this video. So don't flip out, oh my god, clowns and juggalos, we have rights. I know you have rights. Depending on what you do with your rights is a whole nother story. But just relax. I'm getting to you guys here in a moment. Don't kill me just yet. I don't want to be juggalified. That sounded better in my head. My bad. Oh boy. I want to facepalm and slap myself in the forehead because I'd rather not drink a V8. I'd rather an Arizona green tea, which is what I'm drinking. Yummy. Anyway, so I'm including lifestyle living, you know, because, well, I mean, I just want people to be happy, and I feel like a good idea for unification in a game is to, well, include that kind of stuff. Yeah, so, I mean, there's that. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to this lifestyle living. Trust me, I'm going to bring in more. Just don't feel like listing all of it right now. Trust me. And of course, always leave your comments, and as long as you're not being a douchebag and insulting me, then, well, I mean, I won't delete your comments. If you decide to be a dick, yes, I will delete your comments. Now, I'm okay with negative commentary as long as it's realistic negative commentary. I don't want to hear a bunch of fake positivity and a bunch of fake negativity. I want it to be real. The best way to unify people is to be realistic first and to not be a crybaby about every little thing and be like, okay, fine. You know, we're all fuck-ups in our own way, and we should be happy with that. Because that's what makes us human. If not, we would all be clones, and I'm sure most of you are, you know, wouldn't want to be clones. Next. Sexual lifestyle. Okay, that sounds horrible, I guess, and it sounded better in my mind when I wrote it on a paper. It sounded pretty cool, too. Now, when I say sexual lifestyle, I'm referring to traps, sissies, futinaries, hermaphrodites, you know, stuff like that. It's not quite a gender, and it's not quite a sexual orientation as much as it's more of a, I don't know. I mean, I know hermaphrodites do exist to an extent. Yeah, something like that. And no. These are not the same things as being a transgender. Okay, it's not like they switched their gender and just happened to keep the parts from the previous gender. No. A lot of this can be more fantasy, and there are realistic, real hermaphrodites, and I'm not talking about the people that go, I don't like to be a man, I'd rather be a woman, but I want to keep my penis. Not the same thing, I'm sorry, it's not the same thing. Transgender is a whole nother topic, which I will be including, but it's going to be a little bit of a hard time for me. Was that a pun? I wasn't trying to make a pun. Was that an out-of-place, unintended pun? Whoops. Yeah, no, seriously, I didn't mean to do that. It sounded better in my head. Okay, so basically, just in case y'all don't know, traps and sissies are relatively the same thing. Same with femboys, you know. Well, femboys are basically the non-sexual versions of these two, or of the three. Traps and sissies are basically dudes that are so extremely feminine that they don't really bear the masculine parts of a regular man. It's not to say that they're not a real man for it, but we've decided to name ourselves, not ourselves, oh my god, I'm out. My bad, they decided to name themselves traps and sissies. Now, some people consider traps to be a derogatory term, some people consider sissies to be a derogatory term. I think the trap is the better terminology for the terms of the two. So if I consider it trap, I'm not saying it to be derogatory, don't get mad at me. I'm used to saying it as trap. It's just like if I call a short person a midget. I'm not being mean when I say that, that's just how I'm used to saying it. People have to realize that words are words, and as long as we don't get butthurt about it, they really don't have any real meaning except for the actual definition itself, which the definition can vary depending on how butthurt we get over a word. Again, pull your heads out of your asses and relax. As long as the person is not intending to be an ass about it, then you shouldn't be an ass to them for saying it. Yeah, ladies. Oh, God. And relax. So yes, basically, okay, I already covered that part. Now we're gonna have, so basically, futinaries are basically the female that has a penis, the tits, the pussy, but no balls. Hermaphrodite's the same thing, but with balls. Sorry, I know, it's a bit of a, sorry kids for your ears, but I'm sure you're already looking that crap up online anyways. Jeez, I did it at 12, and I'm sure the age is probably getting younger for the times at which they look it up. Sorry, moms and dads, I'm sure your kids are probably looking it up right now, so you can't blame me for it. Just like when all of America cusses and you blame me for saying a cuss word, yeah. Anyways, back to the next thing, emotions. Now, most games in anime have a decent amount of emotion, but I'm sorry, but it's kind of bland. Now, there are some animes that's more emotional, but again, it's more bland. I mean, of course, plot is, everybody says plot armor, but considerably, I mean, what isn't plot armor when developers write their own characters, they make their own games? It's going to have plot armor, as you say. There is no, not plot armor when the developers made him a certain way, whether it's the guy getting his ass kicked, in a fight, versus him overpowering and flexing. There's plot armor for all that it's worth and good in the bad scenarios. Again, pull your head out of your ass. It's just not as funny as you might think it is. But okay, fine, freedom of speech, say what you want. Just realize that what you're saying sounds really dumb. Again, sorry, I don't mean to be an ass, just using my mind here. But emotions, I'm trying to keep the emotions as equal as possible. Like, you know, I want to show the good and the bad of every character instead of making them only seem like a super awesome, no flawed human being, you know, protagonist or maybe demi-human protagonist. You know, I want there to be flaws. We have flaws, and I want them to have flaws. It's only fair, right? And I'm sure that they wouldn't want to be clones either, right? I mean, anyway, demi-human and human species. Alright, so I'm including as many species of demi-human as possible, and one of those species will be human, of course, because, you know, humans are ludicrous, like in every game. But, main problem, you know, with that, which I'll get to it later, but everything from your hybrids, which are like centaurs and mermaids and, you know, whatnot, to your non-hybrids, which are like elves, dwarves, and, you know, so on, angels, demons. Okay, next is good and evil. Unity of good and evil, I believe, is a good combination of all the species. No matter how many games say that orcs are bad, why not have some orcs and goblins that are good? And then maybe have them fight evil orcs and goblins, you know, or angels that fight evil angels and demons fight evil demons. I mean, why not? I mean, why not create as much unity as possible, unification, and show people that just because a person is bad doesn't mean that they're bad. You know, maybe they just want to be considered something, and maybe they're lashing out because they weren't treated good enough as a human, and so they retaliate like an animal. Who knows? What's next? Combat classes. Now everything from your knights, warriors, and so on. You know, and we're gonna have everything in there. Trust me, it's gonna get good. There's not much to say because it kind of clashes with one other topic that I'm gonna be bringing up. But let's just say that I'm bringing in futuristic, fantasy, medieval, and modern styles of weapons. Yeah. Non-combat classes are called skillers. Let's just say that we're going to include a lot. It's going to be awesome. Everything from cooking to fishing. You know, I want to bring as much unity as possible. And for those of you that don't like combat, why not do some sports? Why not, you know, level up your strength so you can play a game of football in the game? I don't know. And I want to unify as many people as possible. And I think that the two biggest types of anime and... Actually, I'm so sorry. The three biggest types of anime and games are sexual, combat, like adventure styles, you know, which also can relate to sci-fi base. And number 3 is sports. I mean, why not? Even somebody who's not considered a weeb, I'm sure would really get into some of those nice sports animes. And even though I don't really get into them personally, I might consider, there's one sports anime that I might consider watching soon. I don't know. 2G's to work with. Yeah, I'm gonna go there. Anyways, culture. Culture basically is kind of like ethnic race a little bit, where, like, you know, a species or a race might have like, I don't know, some races in an RL might dance around a campfire wearing wood mask and thinking that they're I don't know, spirit. I could be wrong exactly how they do it, but I know there are some that do a spiritual dance around a campfire. There's that. What else? So I am going to be including a lot of culture in there, so that, you know, again, unification for everyone, because I want them all to be as, you know, unity. As much unification as possible. My bad. Brain injury. I messed things up. Snot again. Yum. Ugh, slimy yet satisfying is what the Lion King said. Ew. Taken completely out of context, I know. Slap me around. I know, I deserve it. Gear, artifacts, weapons, tech, magic, and more. Basically, I'm going to be including everything, again, futuristic, modern, fantasy, and medieval styles. And other stuff like that. Everything from gravity to anti-gravity style boots, to your guns, to your blades, to your saber weapons, which are like energy weapons. To your energy guns, to your, I don't know, maces, blades, two-handed, one-handed, three-handed, so I don't know. It could be a little bit of everything. You never really know. Shields and, you know, both physical energy style shields, you know, parrying. Gonna have your archery, your magic, hand-to-hand, both MA and MMA. And in case you didn't know what those meant, MA is martial arts, MMA is mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts is a little bit different nowadays. They consider a whole nother topic, where martial arts, as you know what that is, but mixed martial arts is more considered towards, I guess, UFC now or something like that. I'm really confused on that, to be honest. It's confusing the hell out of me, because I don't remember exactly how they label MMA quite yet. I guess it'd be more considered not martial arts, I guess you could say. What else? Let's see here. Oh yeah. So, okay, we're gonna have magic and all different kinds of elements, healing, dark magic, light magic, and everything else. Okay. Okay, so, next I would probably like to include, I don't know, RIL versus online. Now, some people don't know what IRL means, ironically. Anyway, RIL, or IRL, is called in real life. And anyway, so basically, there's a lot of things in game. Whether now, I'm not saying that the game's personally intended for people to act like idiots for playing a game, but some of that really can't be avoided. Subconsciously, the brain tells us to do certain things, whether we know it or not. That's why with, you know, like a kid might be handed a tablet modern day, and you might say, hey, play some Leapfrog and do some Dora the Explorer, you know? And the kid's gonna be like, oh, cool, you know? Oh, I know where that's at, you know? Let's find this shape. You know, I mean, yeah, it's weird. Subconsciously speaking, that kid may or may not get a little smarter. I don't know. Some kids won't, some kids will. It's weird. But it's just like how some cases of like San Andreas from, you know, GTA might leave some people believing that it's okay to shoot a cop, you know, which is not. But it could happen, and it doesn't mean that the people who make these games are to blame for it. It just means that something that can't be stopped, which is subconscious parts of our brain. There's nothing we can do to change that, really. There's not. I mean, now, of course, there are some mental cases, ouch, of people where they are just completely basket cases, and they're mental. Either violently mental or just retardation, slow mental. Nothing wrong with either of those, you know, whatever. But when I refer to this, I'm talking about, you know, like their mentality is a bit stunted or a bit, you know, different than a regular person's mentality. But even if it's a regular mentality from a regular type of, or regular classified person, we can still go off the fact that it's subconscious, no matter how strong our will is to, your free will to, you know, to not be controlled by these things. It doesn't mean that subconsciously we're not gathering things from it. Like, believe it or not, people, I forgot what poll it's from, but there have been polls stating over the years that anime and games have taught people more things in life than life itself, which is another reason why people prefer it. You know, there's that. But on the rougher part of things, the more negative side, is that, for instance, right, you see an angel versing, I don't know, let's say orc, or an elf versing an orc, or a goblin even. And what you notice is that these orcs and goblins are real nasty. They're ugly most of the time, right? They're big and scary looking, and they, you know, they're real intimidating when they talk. Now, whether or not you want to admit it, that's more relative towards the more ghetto areas. You know, no, when I say modern ghetto, I'm not talking about the Holocaust and Jewish ghettos. I'm talking about what blacks and Spanish people and certain white people consider ghettos. You know, a rough area where they feel enclosed and exiled, which sure, I guess that works. I mean, I understand that too, to an extent. But when you see these people, right, you got your big black, white, and Spanish guys walking around, you know, and they look scary. And oftentimes they're pretty violent. No matter how nice they intend to be, they end up being pretty violent. And of course, that goes back to some of them being like mental basket cases, you know. And some of them that aren't mental they're just fed up. So, you know, it's a whole other topic. I'm not going to get into it. Anyway, so you see these big old orcs. They're like, oh my gosh, these guys are scary. And then subconsciously your brain goes, oh no, big scary person, so I'm going to avoid this guy. You don't mean to. It's just subconscious that a lot of people are also traumatized by said moments involving said scary or non-scary looking people. So, you know, I mean, it's also a very, very small line of racism there as well. Whereas the white people always seems to be the heroes. Where, I mean, I get it. And I'm sure that a lot of people aren't personally intending for it to be racist, but that's how it comes off, and I get it. I completely understand. But again, with the whole sexualization of certain people, genders and so on, and they also don't include enough of the LGBTQ, you know, standards, so a lot of people are feeling left out. Smokers, non-smokers, different religions, and so on. Most developers won't include it because they don't feel like that they're obligated to include these things. So imagine having a game that unifies people instead of going, oh, big scary guy, you gotta kill that guy or avoid that guy, because automatically our brain's gonna go, oh no, big scary person, let me avoid him. Which we already have enough of that crap in society, in modern world. We don't need any more. I'm sorry, we don't. You know. Ouch. Sorry, muscle spasms are a pain. And whatever part of the body it's doing it at. Anyways. So, I'm doing what I can on that part, so that people, when they play my game, they'll go, oh, so there's a big scary guy fighting another big scary guy. You know, maybe all these big scary people are not as scary as we think. Maybe it's just society telling us so, you know. And just imagine that you could also learn how to do certain things just by playing a game. Now, anyways, I mean, why not? Why not go on a game that could teach you things where you don't have to worry about school and paying for college anymore when you could learn it all there? I mean, you know, having a laminated piece of paper doesn't mean you're smarter than somebody else, and most people that get sucked into this false belief system often lose sight of what common sense is. As opposed to, yeah, sure, you got a college degree and you're probably better than I am because society tells you to, but you've also lacked basic common sense and how to be a genuine human being. Okay, so, you know, hey, it's your fault. You allowed yourself to be sucked in and now you're a puppet. Now, whole nother topic, but anyways, I'm trying to make the game everything but normal. That's the whole point. Just imagine an elf, an orc, I don't know, angel demons, you know, and you got all these different species, furries, non-furries, dragon, dragonics, fairies. You know, it's just everything, and they're just sitting there, you know, they're having a cool conversation, and everyone's happy, and I think that'd be fun. You know, I mean, yeah. I'm doing what most games, what most game development teams aren't doing and they won't do. I'm going to create what I like to call a breakthrough game, which is going to include different modes and different types, and it's going to go beyond, you know, your basic game, ideology, and so on, and beliefs, and of just about everything that I can think of, I'm including it. Now, sure, I'm sure I've left out some things. Feel free to comment. Oh, and, you know, do all that. Also, we're running out of time soon. But I want to include the idea that if you like what I have to say, feel free to subscribe, ring bell, like, subscribe, like, comment. Oh yeah, and share this with your friends, because I can always use some extra subscribers. No, I'm not begging for them, I'm just offering an idea that we can unite through my YouTube feed. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of other YouTubers that talk about more real shit than I do, but okay, cool. At least in this particular video series. Now, I do have some music also in my YouTube, feel free to check it out wherever it is. On my channel or whatever. Let's see here, what else? I don't know. Maybe we could start a comment feed down below, and, well, maybe, better yet, tell me what you want to see in a game. I would love to know. I feel like that your opinions matter, and I want nothing more than to make the best game of Unity and Breakthrough as possible. And I don't know what all I could have possibly missed out with. I'm sure that I missed out on something. Let's see here. And oh yeah, and also, again with the comment feeds, let's, ouch. Muscle spasms. Sorry about that. Let's, I don't know, let's start a comment feed and let's talk about, I don't know, different species, both realistic, fantasy, I don't know, you know, spiritual, galactic, I don't know, a little bit of everything, right? I mean, who knows? Doing alright. Alright guys, and I will see you later.